VA loans are one of the most misunderstood loan products in the market. And what I hear a lot, and I find it very frustrating, is when realtors say things like, well, we'll never get a VA offer accepted. My sellers won't take a VA offer. And a lot of this is coming from misinformation. They don't really understand enough about VA, so they've just heard something like, oh, someone in my office had a bad experience with a VA loan, or, you know, in the 80s, it was really tough to get a VA loan. You know, it's all stuff that they've heard, but if you talk to realtors who actually work with a lot of VA buyers, they generally know, actually, these are great loans. So today I'm going to talk to you about some of the misinformation and myths that I hear and clear it up a little bit. So whether you're a realtor, a buyer, a seller, you know, buyer's agent, a listing agent, I think it would be great if we all knew this so that we could clear up some of these myths so that the people, right, our veterans, our active duty members who've earned the right, the entitlement to have a VA loan, which is an amazing loan, let's let them use it, right? Let's at least be fair about this and know the truth from the fiction. Okay, so let me start with some of the objections that I hear. Number one, VA loans take forever to close. My seller doesn't want a VA loan because they don't have 60 days to spare. 60 days? Yikes! VA loans do not take 60 days to close. We close VA loans in under 30 days. Yes, under 30 days. It's just like a conventional loan or FHA. I would actually say it's quicker than jumbo loan to close. There's nothing that makes VA slower to close. Okay, just as some lenders will say like, oh, I need 45 days to close, they'll say that on conventional FHA jumbo. It just depends, on the individual lender's speed. So no, VA loans do not have to take longer than doing a conventional loan. So that's number one. Number two, well, don't the sellers have to pay for a ton of stuff? No. They don't. There's nothing in a VA loan that says the seller has to pay the buyer's closing costs or anything like that. It's something where there was like a rumor in the 80s, I don't even know, where people now assume that if a seller accepts a VA offer, they have to pay a lot more in fees, which is not true at all. The only thing a seller really would be asked to pay for, and they don't even have to pay it, the realtors can, is the pest report. If you're in a state where a pest report is required and the buyer's not allowed to pay. There are 9 states where the buyer can even pay for that. So no, it is not more expensive for a seller to accept a VA loan. Okay, that's very important because I know that's usually the biggest one I hear is, well, my seller doesn't want to, you know, have to play by the VA rules. And it's like, well, the VA rules really aren't bad at all to the seller, at all. So no, there's not extra fees or fines that the seller has to pay. Okay, let's see here. Weaker borrowers. Yeah, so... And I got an Instagram note on this one recently. This gal was like, hey, I can't find a realtor to help me with my VA loan because they're saying no one will accept it because I'm not showing enough skin in the game. Okay, so here's the deal. VA loans are 100% financing. They're not 100% financing because the buyers need it. They're 100% financing because the loans are designed to be a benefit, a thank you to the people who serve our country and protect our country. It's not because they are weak borrowers. I have so many borrowers, 800 credit scores, money in the bank, you know, everything that would make them a perfect conventional borrower. We're doing VA. Why are we doing VA? Well, the rate's lower. You know, on a VA, if you're talking to a lender who really knows VA, the rate can be as much as 0.5% lower for VA versus conventional. And then I've actually had a couple CEOs use their VA entitlement recently, since we recently got rid of the loan limit. So yes, you can do $1 million VA loan, and they did 0% down, hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, and they did 0%. Why? Well, because the money's so cheap to borrow right now, they would rather keep their investments working for them instead of liquidating stock or pulling out of a private investment or tying up cash when they can borrow it at such an inexpensive rate. So assuming that someone is using VA because they are weak is wrong. Someone is using VA because they are eligible for it and because it is a pretty darn amazing loan when you really crack into it. So do not assume that because it's a VA loan, they're weaker. And one note on that I think is very important for everyone to understand, VA loans are actually the easiest loans to close because they are federally backed. They also have more creative guidelines to some extent. You know, if I was looking at a jumbo loan, like a $1.2 million loan, and I had to choose between, as a lender, a conventional borrower and a VA borrower, I'm going to take VA every single day. It's going to be faster, quicker, and easier to close. The jumbo lender is going to have 90 more rings of fire for me to hop through. So it's really important to know that VA borrowers are not weaker borrowers. They're borrowers who have earned the rights to a very special loan. That's what it is. Okay. So the skin in the game thing, you know, if a VA borrower wants to put money down, they totally can. They can put money down and still utilize VA as well. They often choose not to because of the exact example I gave you with, you know, stock accounts or money tied up in other investments. So not weaker borrowers. Appraisals. Yeah, appraisals. So the one I'll hear is, well, VA appraisers are so tough. No, they're not. They're not tougher than conventional. The key thing with any appraiser is it has to be in average or better condition. Average or better, that's it. And that's the same for conventional. So with conventional, even if you're putting down 70%, right? If the house is in below average condition, as a lender, I will not finance it. I can't. It has to be an average or better condition. VA is the same, average or better condition. Now, the one difference between conventional and VA is we do need to make sure that the house, you know, has a heater that's working. Conventional, you need a heater too. They just don't test that it's working. You know, it's not these huge changes. Like, there's this myth that VA appraisers go out with, like, you know, detective glasses and they're looking for problems to create problems. They're not. They want to get veterans in homes just as much as everyone else does. So the key thing to note is VA appraisers are not tougher than conventional FHA jumbo. Average or better condition. The other thing I'm going to note, two things on VA appraisals that I think is very important. So I'm a lender where at this point, probably 50% of my business is VA and 50% is conventional. So I really know the differences between the two because I work in both worlds. With a conventional appraisal in parts of the country, it's been really hard to get them in a timely fashion because of how competitive the markets are. I don't have that problem with VA. No. So when we order a VA appraisal, we're ordering it through the VA portal. All of these appraisers have met VA's guidelines for being a VA appraiser. And these appraisers have timelines they have to react to. So they have to be out to the house within a certain period of time, or they can lose the right to do VA appraisals, which no one wants to lose the right to, because no matter what economy we're in, we still have military. VA is always going to be there. So they do not want to lose that. So I'll see a VA appraisal come back within 10 days in an area where I can't get a conventional for 45. And it's because VA is holding them to this higher standard of turn times and they can actually enforce it. Whereas conventional world, we're like, hey, can you please get this back? We'll give you more money. What do you want? Here's my baby. You know, VA, no, VA's doing it. So that's amazing, right? It's a great way, you know, we see the appraisers go out quicker. Also, the appraisers, because of the rules and requirements that VA has, they're generally the most knowledgeable appraisals out there. Yeah, they are. They, if I'm looking at where I see the most problems with like appraisers who are off, it's not in VA, it's in conventional. And it's because the requirements for a conventional appraiser are so much lower than VA. These guys need to know how to really do comps, how to justify value, and if they do enough of these, which they all do, I mean, they're fantastic appraisers. It's just that simple. So, third thing that's important about VA appraisals is that it's only with VA where if the appraisal is going to come in low, they give you a heads up. Yeah, so a Tidewater, which people are like, oh, Tidewaters are bad. Actually, Tidewaters are pretty cool. If I was selling my house and it wasn't gonna appraise, I would love a heads up so that my realtor could provide more information to justify the value before the appraisal comes back. And that's what happens with VA. If the appraiser thinks that the appraisal is not gonna come in, we notify the realtors so they can both provide additional comps or details. We give it back to the appraiser. He looks at that and then he gives everyone the appraisal. Whereas with conventional, if the appraisal comes in low on conventional, we know when we get the appraisal. Then if we want to argue it, we have to do a reconsideration of value, which takes a lot more time and in my experience is not as successful. This heads up is amazing because it gives people the time to go, oh wait, maybe we should tell them about all the upgrades, or maybe she missed the sale that just closed 2 weeks ago. Let's make sure we tell them about that. Like really great, they want to do what's right by the veterans. So they're saying, hey, look, if there's something we're missing before this appraisal comes in low, please let us know. Cool, right? Okay, and you don't see that with conventional. I think those are really the biggest things that I see as people not wanting to accept VA offers. And it's generally just because they have misinformation. And I don't think it's malicious in any way. I think that over the years, VA got a really bad rap. And I think a lot of that is on lenders. Yeah, because when I came into the business 14 years ago, I remember talking to one of the really big producers and I was a little newbie and I was like, what should I do? And he's like, oh, Jen, just do conventional. And I'm like, well, what about VA? He's like, why would you do VA? It's way more work. And so, he would talk people out of VA because he didn't know how to do it. And there's so many lenders that talk people out of VA, or they tell their realtors, oh yeah, you don't want to do that. And it's just because they don't understand the loan product. It's really not hard. It's really not extra work. Maybe 100 years ago before technology, some of the additional paperwork was a hassle, but it's really not. So a lot of the misinformation out there, unfortunately, is from lenders. So I hope this video has been helpful. If you guys have any questions about like, well, wait, I thought VA was this and this is why realtors don't like it, or this is why a seller shouldn't accept it, let me know. I'm happy to answer them all. But really, people have earned this entitlement. It's a really good loan. It's not hard to close. It's not more difficult on the seller. So instead of looking at VA as lesser than borrowers, probably put them up there as fantastic borrowers. Thanks for watching.